Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I'm Dustin. We are looking at Ford once again, and the question is, when will the bleeding stop? The reason why I say that is because if you've watched some of my previous videos that I made about Ford when they were kind of up here, so probably 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago in the middle of July, or when they had this big drop down in the middle of July on the 17th, essentially what it's been for Ford ever since that moment on the 17th of July when they had 99 million shares traded is nothing but down. They were at $14.09 then. They're at $12.16. When you look at the price having this blue lettering with a white background, that means there's 3 standard deviations below the 23-day average. Do you realize how hard that is to do? And I don't even calculate 4 or 5 or 6 standard deviations beyond the average. So this could be 5 or 6 standard deviations. And the reason I say that is because the type of move that we're seeing over the short duration is absolutely remarkable. We see that the price is still below its 5-day moving average, which is at $12.72. The 5-day average is also below the 20-day moving average, which is at $13.57. Now, tell me, Lord, do you expect us to reach $12.72 or $13.57? I don't see it. We saw a day of over 100 million shares traded here in Tesla or in Ford. In Ford again. The stock was down 4.5% nearly. It's down 7.5% or 7+% in 5 days, 13+% in 15 days, almost 20% in 1 month. It's been down. Do you realize that this is a bellwether stock, which is one of the most important companies, at least psychologically, in the United States, because it is definitely an American-made company. It's just amazing to watch. Now, when we look at the signals, we can see that we have a go short in the short term, intermediate term, and longer term. We can see across the trend indicator, we have been bearish, we're staying bearish, we're still bearish across the short term, intermediate term, and longer term, and not good for Ford. The one caveat and the one thing that would be positive is that you're looking at the rolling sentiment. We are getting quite oversold. We're at 33% on the 2-day average, which again, the lowest level that you've seen the entire year for Ford. So this is definitely telling you that we might be hitting a bottom. On the 10-day, we're at 25% bullishness. That's actually kind of terrifying because it tells you that at this point, there is no one who wants these shares and no one who will buy them. On the 23-day average, we're at 31%. These are incredibly random and rare numbers. When you were seeing that we were having these big breakouts in Ford, right? We saw a big breakout here in May. We rolled through June. We peaked in July. If you want to look back at what the rolling sentiment was, you can see it. This is what it looked like. It was redlining. It was literally hitting the top of the range until the 17th of July, when we all know that things completely changed. That is when you peaked essentially on your 2-day. You hit 62%, and then it never has reclaimed that. It's gone all the way down to 38%. If we look at the rising bull, it very quickly turned into a falling bear since then. You can see that even on the 10-day, this is the beginning of the end. This is when things started to roll over. You went from 60% bullishness on the 10-day. On the 17th to the next day, you're at 47%. That is so difficult to do, to drop, 18%? or 13% in the process of one full day just because you had some bad catalysts. Now we're going to look here at the trading signals. Now, obviously, we can't do the retrospective and go back. During these days, you can see that we did get a clear indication that the bear key 3, these are the 3 indicators that I pay attention to in sequence together to know if something is bullish or bearish. You can see that on the 17th was the day that we know that it changed. We picked up one key 3 bear, and then 2 days later we had 4. And then by 4 days later or 5 days later, we had 5 of them. We got a sell signal at 1358, a sell signal at 1367. We had a coming falling bear right before. We have some big bears. We had some small bears. Essentially, it was bearish. And the only thing that I can tell you about Ford right now is that I pray for the shareholders. And I am not one. This is not financial advice. I'm just looking and telling you right now. I hope that risk management was a part of anybody's portfolio if they were paying attention to Ford. Because when we look, the sentiment indicator completely reflects what we saw in the price. We saw a peak here on the 10th. We really started to go under the moving average on the 13th. We saw a humongous, this is the step down, is at 60% on the 17th. We saw a humongous step down from 60% to 55%, and now we're all the way down at 35%. We did bottom maybe at 34%, so we could see a little rebound. Who knows? It's just curious to me because the volume that we've been seeing over the past summer has not actually materialized the same way that you saw when you look at this big day in March. The moves that we've seen in Ford have almost been unusual. They've been catalytic in the sense that something must have happened. Fundamentally must have changed. I mean, now the benefit that we do see is that the volatility is rolling over and the correlation is rolling over. The unfortunate part is that the correlation rolled over so far ahead that the volatility doesn't really care, because essentially the price is moving in a way that the derivative of volatility can't even affect how price is moving. Think about acceleration and speed. The faster you accelerate, generally the more speed you have. That's not always true, but it can be most of the time. So in this situation, what we're seeing is the correlation is falling before the volatility started falling. Now the volatility keeps falling and the correlation keeps falling. We would expect the price to actually go sideways to up, which maybe because we're already at the bottom of the range here, you can see the bottom of the range is at $11.86. The top of the range, which is coming down, is at $15.58. Now, this isn't the lowest price that we've seen for Ford for the past 9 months, but we do want to be really cautious about what that lowest price was. It's probably 11.18. 11.18 is probably, or 10.95 back in December is probably the lowest price. We'll want to be really cautious and just pay attention for that if you are a long-term or long shareholder of Ford right now. You can see the ultra fast sentiment, same thing. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. We give you 25 stocks to your inbox every single Sunday for free. Go get yourself some. I'll talk to you soon.